North Carolina 68, Wake Forest 59. UNC moves on to the ACC tournament semis. The rematch for a second time, third matchup of the year against Duke awaits. Full preview of that game on the channel, so make sure you check that out. But it didn't always look like the Tar Heels were going to get there. The 9 point victory was not indicative of how close this game was. Most of the second half was played within a 4 point window, either side getting more than a basket lead. How much did you doubt, Riley, as a North Carolina fan, that the Tar Heels were going to win this game?
I mean, dude, they were down 3 to 14 to start the game. They started out 1 for 5 from the floor with, I think they had 4 turnovers in the first 5 minutes. At one point, I think they had 15 points and 15 minutes of action, or maybe it was 10 minutes of action. Regardless of whatever it was ridiculously ugly. They could not deal with anything that Wake was throwing at RJ Davis. They were hard hedging his screens. No one else was really stepping up. They weren't making threes. They weren't dealing with the physicality on the interior either. Then on top of it, they just made some really, really, really ridiculously dumb turnovers. Like it was such a frustrating watch for the first 20 minutes. And then even in the second half, it broke up in a 10 point lead. Jalen Washington came into the game and immediately they gave up an 8-0 run. I think like just you saw this against Duke and you saw it again in this Wake Forest game. Like Carolina's lack of depth is it just really kills them, particularly in the front court. Like there's just not really any option behind Vina and Lubin that you feel good about. And it's not like Lubin's a world beater by any stretch of the imagination. He's been really solid as of late. Had 2 huge dunks in this one that kind of put Carolina over the edge and was good on
Yeah.
the glass. But, he gives up a lot of height defensively. He got a shot blocked several times by Efton Reed, and this one was 4 for 12 from the field, and that's with those 2 dunks at the end. It's just, it was almost like a microcosm of the season where the front court struggles, nothing easy inside, but there's flashes that make you want to believe that they can put something together. I mean, RJ Davis was brilliant in this game.
Yeah.
It was one of his best games of the season. Nice to see him rebound after a pretty quiet showing in Winston-Salem. So, yeah, grateful for RJ, but man, it was just an ugly watch. Like, no way to sugarcoat it.
Yeah. Van Allen Lubin, those two dunks late, to me, like Wake felt those as daggers. I don't know
Yeah.
if they were necessarily like true daggers, but they deflated Wake Forest on both of those, particularly the second one, the tip slam. You could
Yep.
see just like the energy come out of the Demon Deacons.
And even like when RJ hit a three with just under 3 minutes to go, put UNC up 4 points, 61-57. That to me was where it was like, honestly, when he hit that, I'm like, okay, Carolina's not losing this game.
Yeah.
You're getting a vintage type RJ performance where he's making 5 threes in a game that gives you a late lead. He's probably not going to surrender. But yeah, you're right. I think those two Van Allen dunks came at very, very important times of the ball game just to like really shut the door shut, slam the door shut.
And I will say too, for every like the lack of depth, particularly in the front court, the lack of ceiling that Lubin and Withers have, they combined for 19 points and was it 22 rebounds between two of them.
Not bad.
Wake Forest got nothing from their front court.
Yeah.
Efton Reed had
Yeah.
2 points, had 10 boards, but 2 points. Like UNC won the rebounding battle by 8. The Heels did what they needed to do in their probably weakest area.
Yeah, I think that those two, like Withers and Lubin, have been over the past like month, I would say, have been above average in terms of what you're going to get out of them at the 4 and 5 position. And I would say Withers has had times where he's been a game changer, like we saw it yesterday
Yeah.
against Notre Dame. He's had a lot of bright moments where it's like, oh, this is whoever Carolina was going to throw at the four this year. If you go back to even the offseason and their prognostications, whether you wanted it to be Drake Powell, Cade Tyson, or Withers, like this was that level of production that they needed to reach their goals. It's
Mhm.
just been kind of the inconsistencies, and I would say like the even Lubin's played really well as of late, but he's definitely had his ups and downs that have led Carolina to still being a bubble team. But it's just beyond them. Like you can get away with Drake Powell at the four. He did
Mhm.
not look comfortable this game. I thought on both ends of the court. I called him the team's best defender in the preview, and he really struggled. He had a couple nice possessions on Salas, but for the most part, kind of got out of position a couple times. And then on offense, just took a couple questionable shots and missed his open threes to where
Mhm.
overall a performance you probably want to forget from him. But yeah, even like if it's not him at the four, there really is no other option besides Withers.
I'm glad you brought up Salas because he played awesome. He had 25
Yeah.
points on 9 to 19 shooting. But the rest of Wake Forest, man, That's why you're not going to the tournament.
Yep. Yeah. I'd give Trevon Spillers a shout out. He's really good in his role to just be like physical,
Yes,
grab boards and
but
score around the
he should
basket.
not be your second or third best player.
Yeah, I agree. If he's like your fourth or fifth option, you're probably a tournament team.
Yeah.
I love the toughness he brings. Cam Hildreth was awful. Cam Hildreth is like he's been awful for the better part of 2 years. Maybe that's mean, but I like he misses so many shots, and not just shot.
Thank,
He misses so many open shots,
thank you for bringing him up because
dude.
I made a point. I made a note mentally to bring up. I think they were down 6 or 5, and needed a three to like kind of get back into it. And he shot the three, neckballed it, like just
Yes.
went straight, boom. And I was like, that is the perfect encapsulation of Cam Hildreth as a player.
Did he have an air ball in this game too? He went 0 for 6 from three,
He did
but
not play great.
I can't remember all of his misses. He's pretty much like if he's not drawing fouls, he's borderline useless. He can be a little bit like pesky on defense. He can force some turnovers and everything, but man, like I swear 2 years ago he had the reputation as like this knockdown 3 and D guy, and he's barely shot above 30% the past 2 seasons. Like Wake is, I mean, he's a senior anyway, but Wake really needs to, they gotta upgrade the backcourt too. They just, I don't know,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if Steve Forbes is a long-term answer. You kind of know what you're gonna get at this point, where this is what, is
Yeah.
this year 4 or year 5 of his tenure?
I think it's your five of
I
Forbes.
think dude, 0 for 5 on the tournament. Like, I know Wake was down bad before they got him, but this program has higher standards than that. To go, like, to get, and I think the most frustrating part for Deeks fans has got to be like you're at 20 wins every year. You just got to get to like that
Yeah.
23 mark basically and not lose games to bad ACC teams down the stretch, but it happens every single year. And I guess when you look at the roster, it makes sense where you have just enough talent to feel good enough about yourself, but you're still a couple players away from being taken seriously.
Yeah. On the UNC side of things, um, big picture NCAA tournament wise, every bubble team has lost, like so far. That's just kind of the way this has been. How are you feeling about their chances of making the tournament?
Man, maybe it's just like that. What are they like? They're 1-12 against Q1 or 1-11 against Q1, whatever that number is. Like I can't get it out of my mind. That's like they straight up have one Q1 win, and that to me feels like yeah, it's fun to win games in the conference tournament. It's fun to see my team play better, but that is like this fog hanging over the season still, in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's like it just seems that it will be really, really tough to overcome. Granted, they do have an opportunity tomorrow, getting Duke most likely without Cooper Flag. But we've seen the stat that no team with that type of Q1 record has ever gotten an at-large bid before. And I think we're like, are there any potential bid stealers out there left? I might just have like PTSD from the last time UNC was in this position, and there was like multiple bid stealers from like the A10 in 2023 that I think UNC was like the second team out or something like that. But yeah, I don't know. They did not look like a tournament team today. I'll
They
say
did
that
not.
openly. Watching this was not them making their best case in this contest against Wake Forest.
Yeah, I think that's a good encapsulation of where vibes are at with this program right now. I think they're in a good spot to get in. I think you need the win over Duke to feel confident that you're
Yeah,
getting
for
in.
sure.
So,
I think yeah, I would say if they get the Duke win, they're in.
yeah, we'll have a full preview for that game on the channel. So make sure you go check that out.